Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West. The Wild
Greetings,
Wild
YouTube. Allowing to lease back at you from right here at the Green Thumb Gardening Channel here in Grow Zone 8B, right here in Tifton, Georgia. And in this morning's video, YouTube, we're going to be taking you guys along with us back out to the Wildings Landing, to our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, where we will indeed be removing our last side branch from the base of Mrs. Lori. We told you guys in our last video update that that side branch was indeed fully rooted, and the only reason we had been leaving that side branch on the base of that tree was because it had one Braver fig on it that we were indeed tempting to wait until that Braver fig ripened. But at this point, it is indeed time for us to actually remove that side branch from that tree. We're going to do that this morning, YouTube. We're going to show you which tools we're going to use to remove that side cutting from that tree. Hang tight, YouTube. All right, YouTube, we're back. And these are the tools, YouTube, that we will indeed be using to remove that one remaining side branch from the base of our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. Here we have our handy Scuddles 9-piece garden set from ScuttlesUSA.com. This garden set contains a planting tool, and as you can see, these tools are indeed, YouTube, heavy duty tools, stainless steel construction. Our planting spade actually comes with a planting depth built right into the spade. Except you can see those numbers down there. Those are inches, and it shows you how deep you're actually going to be planting whatever you're going to be planting. We're going to be using that tool this morning. We're going to be using our handy Scuddles pruning shears to remove that one remaining side branch from our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. This set of pruning shears is actually spring loaded, so easy to work out there in the garden. Ergonomic handles for easy handling. We're also going to be using YouTube. We're also going to be using from this set our handy garden rake. We're going to be using this rake to remove some of that soil back from around the base of the Celeste fig tree out there, so we can see where the roots actually are. This will aid us in finding our roots. This set also comes with a garden fork. It comes with a weeder. It comes with a 25-ounce spray bottle, and it comes with garden gloves also, and this handy carrying bag that you can also put other things that you use in your garden on the inside of that, YouTube. At any rate, if you're interested in this particular garden set, you can find this garden set on ScuttlesUSA.com for around 30 bucks. You can also find this particular set on Amazon, and I'll place a link at the top of this video right here for you guys to hop over there and see exactly what all it is that ScuttlesUSA.com has to offer. They offer various tool sets of this nature, both geared towards men and women. They have men and women sets, and all of their garden sets are less than 40 bucks, YouTube. They offer a lot more than just garden tools. At any rate, YouTube, we're going to head out here right now to our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. Give you guys a peek at that one remaining side branch that we have here on the base of Mrs. Lori. This side branch is every bit of about 2 feet tall, YouTube. As you can see, we've pruned this guy back, pinched it back on several occasions, and it continues to put on new growth, and that's taking a lot of the energy out of our main branch here, out of our main stem here, and our main trunk tree of Mrs. Lori here. So indeed, we will indeed be moving this side branch. We're going to use our rake here, YouTube, by Scuddles USA, to dig down into the soil. I'm going to show you guys what the root system on this particular side branch is looking like. Can you see all those roots, YouTube? We have a ton of roots on this particular side branch. So we know that indeed we will have no issue whatsoever removing this side branch and getting it planted and having it grow quite vigorously for us in its new pot. As you can see, we also have a couple of more smaller branches that are beginning to form here. We'll probably indeed whack those off for YouTube. We don't want any more growth down at this point on our Celeste fig tree this season. We have another branch growing from down there also, YouTube, and probably end up whacking all of those off. We want this Celeste fig tree to put all of its remaining energy into developing and ripening the figs up there in its canopy. And as you guys can see, we did indeed have to come out and place some netting around our Celeste fig tree to protect our Celeste figs from the predators, the birds, the bees, and everything else that likes our figs out here, YouTube. But again, YouTube, we're going to remove some of this soil from around the base of our cutting here. As you guys can see, our cutting is completely rooted, YouTube. That thing has a ton of roots on it. We're gonna get in here now with our handy Scuddles pruning shears. Get down in here, whack this cutting off, and show you guys what it looks like after we get it removed. Get down in there as far as we possibly can. I'm gonna go ahead and whack this branch off of our Celeste fig tree. Take a look at that, YouTube. Take a look at that. Are those some nicely developed roots on our Celeste fig tree cutting, or what, YouTube? This cutting is ready to go in soil right now. We easily extracted our Celeste fig tree cutting using our trusty Scuddles garden rake and our handy Scuddles garden shears. And we couldn't possibly be more happy by what we see in the root system of this Celeste fig tree that we now will indeed be planting using our Scuddles planter spade. Hang tight, YouTube. All right, YouTube, we're back. This is indeed the cutting that we took from our Celeste fig tree. Mrs. Lori out there, as you can see, it has that one Brava fig on it that is not even halfway to the point where it would be ripe, YouTube. What we're going to do, YouTube, is, as you guys can see again, the extensively developed root system on our particular cutting here, YouTube. What we're going to do, YouTube, this cutting is approximately about 2 feet long, YouTube. What we're going to do is whack this cutting off about here, which is roughly about halfway up. So we're going to cut off the top foot of this particular cutting. We're going to do that, YouTube, right here above this particular growth node, where you can see those a bit of new growth beginning to come out there. We're going to take this cutting off slightly above that growth node, YouTube, about right there. We're going to do it at an angle. And again, you guys can see how well and how sharp our trusty Scuddles garden shears are. These things work very, very well. Again, you can get this set on Scuddles USA for less than 35 bucks, YouTube. It's a 9-piece set. All right, YouTube, this is what our Celeste fig tree cutting looks like after trimming that top half of it off. Here is the top half of this Celeste fig tree cutting that we just took. What we're simply going to do here with the top half of this Celeste fig tree cutting is this, YouTube. We're going to completely defoliate this cutting. We're going to even remove that one Brava fig. We're going to pinch that guy off. And we're going to remove all of these larger leaves from this particular cutting, YouTube. We're going to leave a minimal amount of foliage on this cutting. We won't leave very much at all on this particular cutting, YouTube. In fact, we'll probably go ahead and whack this top section here off also. Got try to give our cutting the maximum amount of potential to grow. What we also do YouTube is use our trusty Scuddles garden shears to actually score this cutting down across the top of this last growth node there, all the way down to the bottom. We'll do that. And what that'll do, YouTube, is increase the probability of roots developing down here on the bottom of this cutting once we indeed get this cutting planted. And we'll show you how we do that in another video. Hang tight, YouTube. Here we have our container that we're going to actually be planting our Celeste fig tree cutting in. I'm getting this in the frame, guys. We have our grow medium already prepared here, YouTube, in this bucket. We're going to fill our container first with our grow medium. This grow medium is indeed a mixture of Miracle Grow garden soil, Miracle Grow potting soil, and Expert Gardener topsoil. That makes this soil loose, loomy, that makes it also moisture retaining, and it makes it a very fertile soil. Now that we have our container filled with our grow medium, simply gonna tamp that down in there a little bit, tighten that soil up. We want our roots to be in a position where they can make good contact with the soil once we plant our Celeste fig tree cutting here in this particular container. I'm hoping I'm getting this in the frame, YouTube. I can't see you guys, so I'm hoping that I'm getting this in the frame. And now, YouTube, we will indeed be using our trusty Scuddles planting spade to plant our Celeste fig tree cutting here in this container. We're only going to plant our Celeste fig tree cutting at about this depth in the soil. We want to allow our roots an abundant amount of soil beneath the end of the roots to grow down and expand out. We also want to only have a certain amount of soil on top of our root system, because we know that fig trees tend to grow out of their feeder roots towards the surface of the soil. We want to do that right now using our trusty Scuddles planting spade. We're going to be planting this tree at a depth of about 3 inches. We're simply going to go down in this soil with this planting spade, YouTube. And I know you guys can't see what I'm doing down here below the camera, but I'll show you what it looks like once I get it all done. What we're doing here in the center of this pot is simply making a hole large enough for the root system of our Celeste fig tree to rest comfortably in, YouTube. I'm going to get our roots down in this pot right now. Show you guys what it looks like. All right, YouTube. And this is about the depth that we actually planted our Celeste fig tree in this pot. Again, about 3 inches deep below the rim of the pot. We're going to center our Celeste fig tree cutting in this particular pot. We're simply going to use our planting spade here, YouTube, to fill our pot back up with soil. Our Scuddles garden tool kit comes in quite handy when we're out here either pruning, transplanting, planting, harvesting. They come in quite handy, YouTube. We couldn't possibly thank Scuddles USA enough for providing us with these garden tools. You see how well these tools work, and they make gardening a breeze, YouTube. They make gardening indeed a breeze. What I'm simply doing now is pressing this soil down firmly around the roots of our Celeste fig tree. I'll give you guys an idea of what that looks like right now. Our soil level is currently about 1 inch below the top of this pot, YouTube. What I'm going to do right now is add about one more spade full of soil to this planter, maybe to this pot, maybe 2, to bring that soil level up to just below the top of our container here, YouTube. Again, I'm going to simply just tamp that soil down, YouTube. When our roots, again, to make good contact with this soil in this new container. You guys saw the roots on this particular Celeste fig tree, so you know it will indeed have no issues growing here in this pot and doing quite well for us here. I'm going to add one more little sprinkle of soil here to this pot. We know this soil will indeed settle after we water our Celeste fig tree cutting here. But this, YouTube, this is indeed what our Celeste fig tree cutting currently looks like, transplanted into its new home. Take a look at this, YouTube. This is our newly planted Celeste fig tree cutting. As you guys can see, it is about 12 inches tall, YouTube. I'll set that down there. Move this camera down so you guys can see it from bottom to top. It is about 12 inches tall. We have about 3 to 4 growth nodes between the surface of the soil and the top of this cutting up here that we do indeed expect to be opening up within the next, you guys can see that, within the next several days here, YouTube. But yeah, our Celeste fig tree cutting that we took from our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, out at the Wildings Landing, using our handy Scuddles garden tool set. Thanks for watching, YouTube. And if indeed you currently are watching this video and you're not already subscribed to the Green Thumb Gardening channel, please indeed take this moment to press that subscribe button beneath this video, that like button, that notification button, and be sure, YouTube, be sure to share this video with your friends and family as well. Thanks for watching. And here we are just moistening this soil and our new cutting from our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, out there in our front yard garden extended grow area. Currently have our cuttings sitting in our wicking trays so the soil can actually drink up as much water as it actually needs. Once that soil is fully moistened, we will remove our Celeste fig tree cuttings from this tray and sit them in a semi-shady area here in our front yard garden extended grow area. Thanks for watching, YouTube.
The Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West. Let me tell you a story about a lion unleashed. Raccoon, the blackest cowboy that you ever seen. You're looking for me, come and find me in the desert heat. Up in the saddle with my head bobbing to the beat. Desert Eagle, that's my heater, keep it in the holster. Don't get too close, I might unload with slugs and knock you over. All the natives know this lion, they protect my shoulders. I got Apaches packing both, they hiding in the boulders. Out on the range, a lion roars, so they know my name. Pulling capers with my main man, Jesse James. I'm on it, got the U.S. Marshal trying to bring me in. But me and the kid was lying low here at the lion's den. And it don't matter, into battle we roll like the wind. Cause we were brothers, though we had different color skin. Bullets flying all around, but we had steady hands. And when the dust settled, me and him would still stand. The Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West. Into Tombstone with my friend Doc Holliday, drinking whiskey and cleaning house in a card game. A card shark there at the table with his cracker cheek. I watched the Doc stand him up and knock him off his feet. The next day I found myself out in a different state, making plans to rob a stagecoach with me and Wade. We were riding time and hiding out in the shade, loading guns and sharpening the edges on our knife blades. Along came the stagecoach and it was right on time. Being smart, I knew exactly what was on his mind. He did a stick of dynamite and threw it in the path. When it exploded, made the horses panic and it crashed. We opened up the back and grabbed the gold and got the